Hey everybody, and welcome to Joe's Computer Museum live tonight, or something. I am Joe Strohsnyder of Joe's Computer Museum. If you are a returning visitor or a subscriber or anything, welcome back. If you are a new person, welcome to our wonderful little community of nerds and geeks, where we hackadoodle on things and fix things and make things work. I'd like to say hello to everybody in the chat. We got Jeremy's Vintage Hillbilly Shack, the Vintage Tech, the Tech Guy, Bob Darling, Tinny Bit Fever Dreams. Rudy is in the chat. Rudy sent a friggin' super chat. Woo! Thank you, Rudy. We've got Zodium and Garth and Alex and John and Thomas and Acid Rain and Mac84 Steve Eep. Woot! And Garth is here, and others, I am sure. So to everybody who is here, thank you for stopping by. So, quick little things about the channel before we get going. First, how do you find me? Well, you can find me in multiple different locations. The first thing would be right up here. You can find me you can find me at the Twitters at Museum Joe. You can follow me on there where I post like random sweet nothings into your ear. I whisper things. You can find me on the web at jcm-1.com. You can also support me on Patreon at Joe's Computer Museum. And on my Patreon for just $1 a month, just a single $1, you get access to our patrons only Discord server where you get to talk to a whole bunch of like-minded nerds like me. And you can get early access to behind the scenes things, little posts about what I'm doing, and updates and stuff like that. I would like to thank these super kind folks who support me on Patreon at the highest tiers. We've got Justin D. Morgan, who I believe is in the chat, Stavros Karatsaridis, Michael Mulhern, Bob Douglas, Britt Dodd, Greg Rutke of Rutke Mods, and Peter Tiani, and a whole bunch of other people. So thank you very much all for your support. Keep in mind that all proceeds from Patreon and from my website and all of that go right back into this system to help pay for crazy tools like this thing here, or for crazy projects like the Pumpkintosh, and getting other cool things like these Mac Classic 2s that I can bring into the museum and share with you and fix up and keep things working. So that's the entire point of all of that. And finally, if you like my content, hit the like button and subscribe so you can be part of our community. And it also helps me out because that tells YouTube that the stuff that you watch is similar to stuff other people watch, and it shows my content to other people who might not know about me, which helps more people know about me. And then we get to share things with everybody and we get to have fun together. So that is that. Now, what are we doing tonight? Tonight we are working on or building a new 3D printer. And what does that mean exactly? Well, we all know what a 3D printer is, right? It takes filament, it squirts it out onto a plate, and it makes objects. I use my 3D printer actually for business operations now, or for museum operations. I sell blue scuzzies and light sounds and other things like that that have 3D printed components. Before it was just a hobby, but now it's actually a business as a necessity. And the 3D printer, my old 3D printer, the Creality Ender-3 Pro, which is an absolute rock solid tank of a printer, can't blame the printer at all. It died. It was having just some random, what I would call, what seemed to me anyway to be basic maintenance issues. If you don't know about 3D printers, you got to sometimes replace the nozzle or clean certain things and whatever, because, you know, just like anything, they wear out. So I thought the problems that I was having was with the nozzle. So I went to replace the nozzle, and apparently I replaced the nozzle wrong and made it print worse. And then I started having issues with that. So then I replaced the entire hot head end. Because of the way the Ender-3 Pro is designed, the entire hot head can over time become just jammed up, and you just have to replace the hot head or clean it out. But I'm like, well, I need the printer in order to do things. So instead of like spend time to clean it and fix it correctly, I've just replaced the whole hot end. After I replaced the whole hot end, the thing wouldn't really print at all, and I was having extrusion problems. So anybody knows anything about 3D printers, basically it's got four axes, X, Y, Z, up, down, back and forth, side to side. And it's got a fourth axis, which is the extruder, which is that's melting the plastic and squirting it onto the panel. The extrusion, the fourth axis, the E axis, wasn't extruding properly. And after a lot of diagnostics, I come to find that it wasn't engaging the extrusion motor correctly, which is one of two things. Either I somehow screwed up the tuning of the extrusion motor, which in this case for this printer, you can't do because there's no how can I put it? There's no adjustment potentiometer on that printer for the extrusion. So I couldn't have screwed it up that way. Or I moved I moved one of the axes too fast. I did something it didn't like, and which can send voltage back through to the driver board and actually bust the driver. Because motors are also generators, and if you spin them fast, they can generate electricity. And these motors in 3D printers don't have what's called a flywheel diode or a flywheel circuit that helps cap return voltage from going back to the board, because they're stepper motors. It's not like they run a lot and can freewheel. Or it's not a flyback diode, a freewheel diode where it'll spin and continue sending voltage out the board. So it shouldn't have been a problem. But, if you fit like that really fast with one of the axes, it can send a jolt to the board. And apparently that's what I did. Can I fix that printer? Yeah, probably. But I don't have time. I got crap I got to get printed. So I opted just go ahead and replace the printer. Mainly because I'm lucky in that I live about 30 to 35 minutes from an Amazon distribution center, and they had them in stock and I could get them next day. So this printer here that I ordered right here, I ordered it last night at like 6 p.m. and it got here at like 4 in the afternoon. So I really, like, less than 24 hours, I really can't complain on that. So I need to get in here and get this thing get this new one put together, so that I can get some prints kicked out, specifically for Blue Scuzzies. If y'all don't know, I'm a Blue Scuzzy reseller. Thank you to Eric Helgeson and the rest of all of the other Blue Scuzzy sellers for having faith in me and getting those done. But every Blue Scuzzy goes out comes with a 3D printed bracket. Where I am in the world physically, it doesn't make sense for me to have the brackets made for me. It costs like 5 times as much as it does for me to just have my own printer and do it. So I just have my own printer and do it. But I can't sell Blue Scuzzies until I get brackets to go with them, because I'm out of brackets. So yeah, that's where we are. Before we dig into this, I did have a couple other little things I wanted to discuss that I kind of got ahead of myself. You guys probably haven't seen me in a while. I haven't had to put in any videos. I haven't had a live stream since my birthday live stream on July 3rd. It's been a while. Where have I been? Well, I've been really busy. Blue Scuzzy takes up a bit of my time. No complaints. It's a flipping awesome project. I love it. I've been helping a little bit on the back end too, testing some things here and there, so it's very helpful. I've been working on 3 different consulting projects for other folks. 2 of them are for Mac Effects, and 1 is a collaboration with Petr Puskaric. So things going on there. I've worked with Bob Darlington, who's in the chat. Hi, Bob. On releasing the Light Sound board, which is a stereo sound card for the Apple II GS. Which we put on formal sale yesterday, and they're all sold out in less than 24 hours. Super popular. That's 24 boards that were in and right back out the door. Well, half of them went out. The other half are waiting for me to ship because I got to get this printer working. I've been doing stuff with Retro Repair Roundup and some other podcasts. I've been randomly showing up on other folks' streams just to kind of keep my presence alive, so I'm there. I've built Franklin memory boards for the Ace 2200, a new keyboard encoder that I do want to thank Philip Allison and Logan Greer. If you know them, Logan is big in the Apple II community. Philip Allison is an interesting fellow. Go look him up on the internet. They helped me actually resolve a problem with the I'll call it the Datanetics style keyboard encoder that I had. I actually took those products off my website because I spun a completely new board with a redesign based on their help. So I wanted to just say thank the two of them for the problems Logan had that allowed me to then identify I had a problem to fix. So there's that. Tiny comp video adapters. Thank you, Rudy. I have a Blueberry. Can you see it behind me? Is it back there? No, it's hidden back there. I have a Blueberry Macintosh. Can you see it? Can you see it? It's like right there. Right there. It is the blue version of the Pumpkintosh that I'm working on. Just tons of just things. Two nearly mint Mac Classic 2s I picked up recently. One of which is going to be I'm going to keep so that I can repair Mac Classics and Classic 2s now. I can have that in my repertoire of machines I can fix. But also, I'm going to have the other one, the spare one. We're going to give that away on Retro Repair Roundup. That's going to be really cool. But I'm waiting on capacitors to recap it. Even though it is nearly perfectly pristine, still has electrolytics on it. There's no board. There's almost no leakage of those caps, and there's no corrosion on these things. They're perfect. Like they were never turned on. They were never used. They were just, whatever. But I still need to recap them. But I'm waiting on the capacitors, which I ordered 3 weeks ago, and the distributor still hasn't sent them to me. It says your what is it? What's the term they said? Shipping label created. They never gave the box to the shipper. That's got me grumpy. So that's whatever. So that's what's going on. Upcoming plans for the actual channel, though. 2 major ones. One, I'm going to be doing a video on how to clone 2-layer circuit boards. I just have a little bit of voiceover and some B-roll type stuff to figure out, and then I'll get it done. But I've been trying to get that done for 2 months now, and it hasn't gone anywhere. It's just because a lot of things I got going on. I also want to return to the JCM 1 computer. My patrons know about this. I've been asking them some questions in the background about how I should do things. Their thoughts on it mostly align with what I was already thinking on it. So that will be fun to get back to. I gotta figure out how to do actual bitmapped graphics. That's the last trick in getting JCM 1 figured out. And then I could redesign it as a kit people could buy. That would be neat. Kits people can build of old school computers, so I can teach you how they work, Ben Eater style, but not with breadboards, but with PCB. That's my idea there. So we'll see. Anyway, back to the 3D printer project. So we need to get the printer built. We're just going to build it. I'm going to build it tonight. I figured I would hang out with you all and build it tonight. So let me check on comments and what. Rudy, woot woot and double triple quadruple woot. Thank you, Rudy, my one of my many 8-bit partners in crime. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, sir. What folks are saying. Mike's here. Have you lost any logic boards in your ultrasonic cleaner lately? No, I actually check it pretty frequently now. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, thank you, buying Blue Scuzzy or 2 from you. Yes, I understand. Adjustment potentiometer for each stepper motor. And the Ender-3 Pro, I didn't, when I had it apart, I did not see any adjustment pots. It's possible they are there. I don't have time to F with it. I don't have time to mess around with variables at this point. I got to get things printed. I don't have time. And I wanted a quiet printer anyway. This thing's quieter and it's faster. It uses the 32-bit firmware. The user interface is easier. It heats up faster. So I just figured that, hey, we're going to do it. Lemon Herb, congrats on selling out the light sound. Yes! Don't think me. All I did was put them on my website. Bob did all the hard work. He did the hard work. He promoted it on Facebook and just pointed people there. It's all on Bob. I'm Walmart. I'm just selling the product, right? As long as we don't get back any show-stopping glitches or bugs from anybody, which I don't see how we are. It's a really straightforward design. We're going to be spinning another round of those. So yeah, keep those in mind. Other people, Konami Code, that's funny. Really see me in stream. Hi, Alex. How are you? Eric's here. KHBSD. Yes, that's your name. That's what it is. Herb's here. We know Garth is here. Yes. cool. The gear feed on the filament is the only adjustment you get on that Ender. Yes, exactly. The gear feed. The Ender-3 Pro is just, it's very straightforward, uncomplicated printer. It's made to be taken out of the box, put the things together and go. And for the most part, it is. The Ender-3 Pro is just a solid, straightforward, uncomplicated printer. But if you do things wrong with it like I do, like fork around with the XYZ axis and move it around, you know, whatever. And I'll explain it a little bit more. Basically, after I got it all fixed and put the new hot end on it, I found it wasn't extruding right, and it felt like it was gear slippage. If you do 3D print, you can tell that it's not pushing enough filament out. It's hard to explain. After you've played with 3D printers for about 6 months and done several prints, it's one of those things you just kind of figure out, and that's what it was. And I started, and it seemed like it was a bad gear because I've had bad gears happen before. But I'm like, it can't be a bad gear. I got a direct drive hot end instead of the Bowden tube hot end. I was just like, I'll just upgrade the whole thing while I'm at it. And it still wasn't working correctly. So I started adjusting you can go into the controls and do XYZ and extruder steps in like tenths of millimeters, centimeters, you know, different whatever. And I found that like, as I tried to advance the extruder in like, say 1 centimeter was it 1 millimeter? 1 millimeter increments, little small increments. I could see it jog. I go, like jog back and forth, but faster, just and not actually move the filament like it was getting jammed. But I could release the tension on the grabber and push the filament in very lightly, and it would just flow right out. So I'm like, well, it's a brand new head. It's not clogged. And it was doing all this before I did the upgrade. So I'm like, well, whatever. So another thing I found too is as I was telling the extruder to advance XY, this axis, the X-axis motor would make noise. It would very barely like turn on. Why would the X-axis motor make noise when the extruder was running? So I disconnected the extruder completely, so it wouldn't make noise at all. And as you run the extruder motor little steps, that X-axis was making noise. It wasn't moving, but it was going zzz, zzz. So I'm like, well, the driver board's bad. It's got to be screwed up. Like I know I can fix it now, but it's a variable. I've got too many variables in the old printer now to be able to rely on it to kick prints out. So I did an upgrade. I could have got another Ender-3 Pro, but I decided to go with the upgrade. So that all said, let's switch camera angles. Number one, I didn't check for addresses and other personal stuff because I pack a lot of customer stuff at my bench. So I need to check around and make sure I don't have anything like that hanging out before I go to the wide angle camera here. More noises. Beep, boop, beep, boop, woot, 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 eep, 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 quack. There you go. Tony's here. Hi, Tony. Yes. Yes, exactly. And here's the thing too. Yeah, it gets rid of the Bowden extruder and the PTFE. I only print in PLA. I don't use anything else because PLA is the easiest thing for me to print with. It works perfectly fine for what I do. I don't need ABS. I don't need PETG. I don't need like wood or metal or any of those other funky things. Just straight. However, the direct drive heads are always better. They just work better. They have a lot less tendency to clog and cause problems and all of that stuff. So anyway, side camera. So I need to click this button. No, wrong button. Click this button and go to this one. Yay! So you can see me. Hi, everybody. I'm going to move this over this way, out of the way. So here's the box. Let's get the box open and take it apart. Now, while I do this, you all might see this screen right here and this computer hanging out right here. This is an LC2, a Macintosh LC2, also known, in the case of mine, because it came from education, is a Performa 410. This LC2 is up and running right now. And it is currently connected to an Ethernet connection, which connects to a special switch I have up here with some special secure setup routing. Because this LC2 over here is hosting a website. So if you go to retro.anonymous.net, I will put that in the chat. Click. If you go to that website right now, that computer will serve you the page. So if you want to check that out on the side, you can do that. So I'll leave that on the screen for a couple seconds. Please don't break my home network. Feel free to break the LC2. I would love to see what the limits of that thing are. So my bench is not very large because my workspace is not very large. For those who don't know, my entire workspace here is about a 16-foot by 16-foot cube. So I'm going to get rid of my extra camera here because it's in the way. This is just going to go over here in the corner. Just go over there. And doobie-doobie-doo. I'm going to, I'm going to put this down. It gives me a little more room on the bench to work. There we go. A little more room on the bench. Cool. Now it's funny, this LC2, when I was setting it up, I wanted to set it up using Mac HTTP because I've used that HTTP server in the past. But Mac HTTP is very crashy. It crashes and breaks a lot. It's just not reliable. So I ended up using Microsoft Personal Web Server, kind of the way Bruce Rang from Breakus Creations did his little retro website. And that just works. It just works. So yeah. Let's see here. Ooh, that's fancy. Fancy print surface. So this comes out, and this is our Z-axis. So this is just going to go over here for a moment. It's actually going to go on the floor. I have no space. This room is tiny. Hey, if Ron is in the chat, you ask him. He's been here. Stavros has been here too. You ask them. This place is absolutely tiny. Imagine somebody having 1/4 of the collection of Steve in 1/16 of the space. It's nuts. Maybe not 1/4, but I got a lot of different things. So we need to get all the packages and containeries and stuff out of here. All this plastic. I don't need this fuzz. I don't need this fuzz. Go over here, fuzz. Go, fuzz, go. Go away. Quick installation guide, i.e. put it together. This comes out here like this. Very carefully like. Oh, sorry about that. There it is. Now this is a much more professional laid out printer than the Ender Pro, the Ender-3 Pro, but that's okay. Getting the box out of the way. Stand by. Cool. I will be eventually fixing the original Ender-3 Pro. I will be correcting that. I don't have time right now to do it. So that's not what's going to happen. So we need instructions. Let me look. 3D printer. Can I have it? No retro techie. No, you can't. Sorry. Yes. You you can have it if you pay me for it. Oh, that's funny. I'm just reading the chat. There's something funny that a 3D printer comes flat packed. Yeah, but they pre-assemble most of it for you, so they make it really easy. Yeah, that's a nice metal printing bed. That's nice. Sweet. Think. Not sure I like that metal bed. I wonder if I can use it with my plastic beds. I like these beds better. They're more flexible. It's the same size. I'll bet you I probably could. It'll probably work just fine. Yeah, I prefer the flexible plastic beds honestly. Because like this, you can flex it, but it's metal. If you flex it too far, you're gonna put a crease in it. These are a lot less likely to put creases in it. However, the metal beds are more hard wearing, so it's like what? It is what it is. So that's together. I'm gonna get all these cables and things free. This is probably the controller cable for the controller that sits here. This is going to be the Gantry connector for the Gantry stuff. This is probably the Z axis because it's X, Y, and Z. This is probably the Z axis controller. And the other connectors are all on this back corner right here. So for those who have other Enders, it's just a spew of cables and junk floating all over the place. Whereas they have these connectors in this nice pre-made base right down here in the bottom here. So power connect comes into the bottom. This is you can tell there's a lot. This is a designed unit. It is a well-designed, industrial designed unit. Whereas your standard Ender-3 is just put together with some extruded aluminum. So bits and pieces and parts. All the spare bits and pieces you would need for reasons and things. I won't need any of that. What is in here? So let's look in this box. Stand by. I'm just following on chat. Where's your belt? Wearing a shirt tucked in without a belt, for shame. I took my belt off because I'm fat. I'm a fat guy. I took it off because it was bothering me. So, of course, they come with these silly things that you never use. I got two of those now. And a little cable clip. All this stuff I don't need is going over here. That can go over here for now. I need to make a little extra space, so we're going to kind of tuck the keyboard for that over there. Don't fall. Yes. Go. They come with a little bit of test filament. I'm not going to be using that. Here's the hot end. Here's the hot end. Just put an Apple sticker on the printer and Steve will want one, yes. So here's the hot end. And it is a fully metal enclosed unit. It's a fully enclosed unit. Without without the tube that comes into it, so it direct drives straight in. Yes, nice. Fans and stuff for control. Here's the actual nozzle itself. That is a standard 0.4 millimeter nozzle. It also comes pre-installed with the leveling sensor. So what the leveling sensor does, if you don't know, let's talk about leveling. Usually when you talk about leveling, you're talking about having a spirit level and making it level to the base. That's not what leveling in 3D printing means. What leveling in 3D printing means is the tip of this injector or this extruder level with this surface across its entire surface. So what you might see down here are some little knobs that you can turn that will turn the corners of this up and down, so you can kind of rotate the whole platen like this, right? To get this even with that. In the first time you set this up, you want to get it so it's generally level all the way around. But with an auto leveler, you don't have to do that every time. See, these adjustments can come out of whack over time. You can just kind of sort of bump them a little bit and whatever. Spring tension changes, heat changes, all the types of things can cause this to move around a little bit. And when you're printing, you have to make sure it's level all the time or your prints come out wrong. So if you don't have an auto leveling system, you have to check this silly thing every single time, which involves doing the thing you probably shouldn't do, which involves moving the gantry and head around very carefully and slowly and checking it usually with a sheet of paper to make sure it's like right at the right distance to the surface, and being very careful while you move it too, that you don't have one corner that's too high and then you get effectively, like in hard drives, a head crash or a nozzle crash that will scrape your surface up or ruin your nozzle. So you're checking that all the time. Well, with a leveling system, you do a general level, a relative level between the four corners once, And then every time you print, this auto leveling sensor, this little nub comes out, it goes tink, and it'll move the head down until it goes click, and it will figure out, it'll profile this entire bed. That doesn't only get you level per corner to get the whole panel level, but if you have any slight warps or distortions over the surface of the, say the entire bed is high in the middle for whatever reason, because of a manufacturing defect, the auto leveler picks that up. It will pick up that distortion and create a height map, basically, of the surface of that bed every time you print and keep your prints accurate. So cool stuff there. So that's the hot head, or the hot end, that does all of the extrusion magic. And then we got other bits and pieces in here that do things, and I don't know what they do. This is a fingerprint reader. Okay. Or a light, or I don't know what that is. We'll figure it out. That's what instructions are for. This is probably, yep, this is the filament holder that goes up to the top that holds the filament on the printer. I may want to adjust this up slightly because this is going to get taller and taller as we go. Right there. There we go. And this is probably the controller. Come here, you do it. Do it. Oh gosh, come out of the box. Thank you. Yep, that's the controller head unit. This is and really what this is just an interface. The actual controller is inside the machine itself. There's a drawer. That's adorable. Filament Run Out Sensor. Hey, look at people in the chat who have these printers and know what they are. Thank you. A filament run out sensor is cool too, because then you don't have to worry about running out of filament. You just run the print through, and if your printer runs out of filament, you can replace the filament and hit resume, and the print continues. Whereas, you know, my other Creality, the Ender-3 Pro, doesn't have the run out filter or the run out sensor. So you have to like watch your filament, and when your filament gets low, you can't use the ends of the spools because it's not enough filament. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so there's that. So we're just going to follow the instructions because that is the thing that I do. You got tools, chassis module, yes. Nozzle module, yes. Wire clip, yes. Filament tube, yes. Gantry down here on the floor, you can't see. Screen and rack and filament detector. Here, right here. Cool. And other tools and toys that are all going to be in this box container. Thing-a-doodle right here, I am sure. So these things are all going to go in a little container like this to make it easier to get out. Ooh, yes! Clippers! They give these things to you so that you can cut your filament. But the thing is as far as actual wire cutters go, these aren't half bad. So you could just use these as wire cutters. So, whatever. They're going to go over here with the other printer. Screws and bits and things, they'll all go in there. This is a spare parts. No installation by default. Thank you for spare parts. Cool. And they send you little adapter doodles and things for doing stuff, and your toolkit, so you don't need special tools, and all of the screws and knobs. So let's get into it. They're like, it comes with a memory card. Yeah, whatever. They're talking about they want you to create an account. I'm not going to do all that. I don't care. Z-axis limit kit. Yes, so that's what this part is. So it knows where the top of it goes at the top of the gantry, so it knows if it goes all the way to the top, it knows it can't go any farther. That's fine. Install the nozzle and wire clamp. So cool, we do that. So that means this thing has to come off the bench because it's in the way. Because it's not the thing we work on first. Okay, base. All your base are belong to printer. I'm Joe and I'm a nerd. What are all these people badooping me for? I hear Discord badoops. What's going on with the Discord badoops? I'm in like 5 different servers, so I don't know. Yes, but remember, if you become a Patreon patron, you get access to my Discord server, and you get to also get the wonderful badoops all the time from all these wonderful other people. Joe has Discord open. Yes, I do. Badoop, badoop, badoop. Oh no, they're doing it now. Now you're all just badooping at me to make it badoop. Poopy doo, boop, yarp, bidoop, badoop, dupe. You guys are funny. You are great. Please don't look directly at the nozzle. Sorry, not sorry. Love you, Joe. You guys are great. We badoop you because you care. They love me. They really love. Sorry. Moving on. So, stuff. Material guide, blah, 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 blah. What can this print? Tells you what the... Wow, this is cool. This is something you get with these that you don't get with the cheaper ones. It tells you like all the suggested retraction speeds, distances, and all of that stuff so that you can set it all up properly. Leveling tips. Yay! Cool. Cool. Awesome. Back to what I was doing. So it wants me to get Gantry and do Gantry things. So here is the Gantry. Here is the Gantry. Very careful with Gantry. And this is fancy. It's got a built-in light at the top. Whoop-de-doo. Whatever. So install the nozzle module and wire clamp. So the nozzle module is this. And it is going to mount right here, I presume, with screw-badoobles, probably in that general vicinity. Yep. So we're going to turn this real easily like, so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing. So the nozzle assembly is going to go right here, like that. Yep. Like that, like this, like what? It's going to go like this, like that. There we go. Okay, you want me to install those with what screws? They're probably M3s, 4 M3 by 6 hexagon socket, blah, blah, blah. So let's get the screw bits out. M3s look like these. M3 by 6 screws, yes. They'd make it really easy. Look, they're thumb screws, so you can thread them in easy to start with, and then you tighten them then with the thingy, whatever that thingy is, the tool, the Allen wrench. Allen wrench, that's the word. They want me to use 4 of them for this procedure. Okay. There they are. You guys can't really see what I'm doing here. It's hard to do this and be on camera at the same time. I apologize. I will attempt to do better. Those are in there, and then we need der Allen wrenchers, der Wrench, der Erlens, tools, Bago tools. Keep the tools to your printer and keep them near your printer. You never know when you're going to need to get into things. Bench cam. Like the overhead camera. Well, see, the problem is the overhead camera is right up here and it's in my way. Like I can try to do something like, maybe if I put the camera, sorry about shaky cam, like this. Will that work better? You can see what I'm doing a little bit easier, maybe? Yeah. Alan wants his wrench back. Yes. No, that's what the light is for. It can print in the dark. Yes. I was there, Gandalf. Yes, yes, yes. Does the printer have Cortana? That'd be funny. Yes, you guys. Joe will need a Pepsi soon. Diet right. It's the only way to get. This is what we have in the house right now. It depends on what store we go to and who has it on sale, because it's just something that's slightly tastier than water to shove in my mouth. That didn't sound right. Moving on. So we will need this Allen wrench here. Yep. Cool. That's 2. Three, and 4. 4. Just get a little bit of torque on it so it's nice and tight. There we go. That's done. Next, that's step. What was step 1? Oh, step 1 is main part. Step 2. Step 3, install the gantry. So you want me to put that down through there and okay. I'm sorry, I'm reading the instructions and they don't make sense, but okay. Yes, okay. So basically, now I need the base. Hello, base. Come to me, my little spaghetti. There's the base. And the gantry attaches right in here. Apparently, you've got to like do things from the bottom of it or something. And I'm being very careful with this because I don't want this to move around a lot. Yep, it just goes in there. Okay, so we're just going to kind of do it on its side, if I can. Can you not fall over? This is probably the hardest part of the installation, is getting this aligned in these holes. There we go. And you want me to use what? M5 by 45. So those would probably be these big bolts right here. These bolts, M5 by 45s. M5 by 45. Yes. I apologize. I might sneeze momentarily. Excuse me. So, you have 3 3D printers, none of which are working condition. One is broken, and one suffered disassembly and shipping. Oh, gosh. And one is flat packed. Yes. So we're just getting these put in the back here. Okay. That's 1 down, 4 to go. Yada, yada, yada. Screwing, screwing, screwing. Okay. I would like to actually sit this up on something a little bit to make it easier to do. Stand by. I'm looking for a solid object of some description to help me, to aid me in my quest. There we go. That helps. There we are. That's what I wanted to do. Oops. And we'll get this screw in. There's 4 screws on the bottom. That goes in, and the last screw. I'll presume after this we can set it up right. Does the printer have a Meanwhile PSU in it? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Oops. Just making sure these are all super tight. This is one of the more important joints to get super snug. Okay. So now we can lift you up on, install the screen. Yes, so we're going to lift you up on your base. All my base belong to me. I made the joke again. Ha 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 ha. So we put the screen on. So I need to get the screen. It's here somewhere. It's here somewhere. Here's the screen. Here it is. Ready? Are we all ready to savor the peelies? Are you ready to savor the peelies? Everybody get ready. Because we're going to savor the peelies, right? Oh, yes. Okay, so the screen goes on with 3 M3s by 30s. M3s by 30s. Those would be these. M3, those are M4 by 30s. Are we M4s or M3s by 30s? M4 by 30s. I got them wrong. 3 M4 by 30s. And they give you an extra one, which is nice, I suppose. We're going to roll right on up here. We're going to turn this around so you can actually see what I'm doing. Ah, yes, another thing this thing has as well, this printer has as well, I'll flip it around here and show you momentarily. This has a dual screw Z-axis. So super duper cool. That is probably this hex wrench. Nope. It's one of them. This one. Yes. Cool. Cool. That's one. You guys can't even see what I'm doing. Doing this. We're putting that on. Does that have addresses on it? No, that's a barcode. There we go. Oh gosh, and the well, it'll also help if I put it in the right hole. That's that's a thing. We all start somewhere. We all start off in the wrong hole sometimes. Anyway, moving on. So that goes in there. You can do it. There we go. This would probably be easier if the printer was kind of up on its side, but I don't want to put the printer on its side if I don't have to. However, I am going to kind of prop it up just a little bit. We are going to prop this up just a bit, just to make my life a little easier. Just a little easier. Go. You can thread in any day now there, Mr. Screw. I'm about to get my... That's going to be like a T8. T10? T10 will do it. This will make my life easier. Ah. Better. And this one. Are you not threaded in? What's the deal here? There we go. I got it now. Cool. Everybody, look at the top of my head. Bye, Rudy. Enjoy lunch. If I just keep checking Joe's YouTube channel every hour, I knew I'd eventually find a live show. Yes, you can also turn on all the notification stuff, and you'll get notified when I schedule one. So that's a thing. You do the bell notification, but that notification thing only works if you actually have YouTube notifications enabled in your browser. So yeah. There we go. Is that a bald spot? Probably. Although baldness does not really run in my family. It's not a thing we Stroh-Snyders have a problem with. So here, I do want to get this little cable plugged in, which would be the cable for the screen. You can do it. There we go. Screen cable. Cool. All neat and out of the way. What's next? What is next? Yeah, John, dual screw. That means when Javier breaks it, is he really screwed? Sure. So yeah, here's what I wanted to show is that this has a dual Z drive basically. So dust. So effectively, it will drive the entire gantry. You can't really see that. Up. High, infinity. So basically, it will drive both sides simultaneously in one unit in one motion, so you don't have any racking or skewing of this bar. It just makes it a little bit more reliable. Ooh, Eric's Edge. Yeah, pork chops, baby. Vintage tech guy. Hi. Yes. So where are we? We are continuing with these instructions right here. So we installed the screen. Great. Install the rack, which is this thing, which goes somewhere like this, somewhere in this general vicinity. They want it on the right end of the rack, which is going to be over here. So we kind of put it right there, just pops into place like that. This is going to be the filament run out sensor, which we will deal with momentarily. Find the filament tube fittings and fix the thread in. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever. It's this thing. This thing kind of goes through here like this and does the thing. And you want me to do this like this. Like that. And this is even cooler too. This has got a spinny on it. So up and away. So this actually has a roller bearing on it. You can kind of see it rolling there, which means you're not going to have any problem dragging the filament. The other printer doesn't. My previous printer doesn't have that attachment. It's just a post. So the entire spool just kind of has to drag across the plastic, which of course, if you're having extruder problems, makes the extruder problems even worse because then it's got to pull against that friction. This, it's on a bearing. There's no friction there. So no problem. Easy peasy on that. So there. So grow corn on the cob, limit, herb. I called you herb. Be nice. 3D printer Joe. Yes, vintage tech guy. If you go back and restart the stream and watch it 2 times speed, you can get caught up. Long story short, my 3D printer broke. I know what's wrong with it, but I don't have time to diagnose all of the potential variables with it because I actually use my 3D printer to print things for people, for customers. So I just needed a printer that worked. So I went ahead and got an upgrade while I was at it. Where are we? We're following instructions. We do that. That's popped in there. Wiring. Yep. Yep. Connect the nozzle to the 24-pin port as shown, which is this here. Right here. Goes in a connect-a-doodle right up here. So let's see if we can kind of get you like right in on the action. Let's super zoom. Vomit cam. Okay. So we're going to turn this so you can see. So, yep. Right in here is the connector for the nozzle cable. So we got to get that connector in there. And it's got all these neat little clippies to hold it in place and a cable guide and all of that stuff. So that is super duper neat. So we need to kind of bend this a little bit so that it will fit into that cable guide. Okay. And the cable plugs in. Ah, I didn't mean to push that down like that. Okay. There we go. Awesome. So that is in place. It doesn't feel like it's really latched in there well, but it's in there, so that's good. Yep, so that's good. Connect the x-axis limit switch and the yellow label on the thingy. That is this here. Those are these cables here. So we're going to turn this. And we're going to move this back so you can see me plug the cable of doodles in. So we've got cables here to do. This is an x-axis. I call this the z-axis, but they call it whatever they call it. So this is going to go right here. You can do it. Yep. This is also Z, which is the other Z. So it's going to go over here. You need, that is already plugged in. That is the Z-axis. I got that backwards. Yeah, that doesn't go there. This goes here. This goes here. That's the Z-axis. Okay. You've got other little cables hanging out over here. I don't know where they go at all. X-axis limit switch. This is the, yeah. This is where reading instructions is hard. They intended to print while driving. Could that even work? That would be a challenge. There'd be lots of vibration involved. Stand by. I'm just reading where these things go. That goes there, and that's also Z-axis. That's a expansion interface. That's fine. Okay. Filament detector, which is going to be this cable here. This is going to be this is LED. Which is the that's going to be, so this is the expansion connector. That's voltage. This is going to be the filament detector. Yep. Which is this, which is going to go into this thingy, which means we need to move this over slightly to get to the filament detector. Yep. Which is supposed to move like that with things. So it can move like that. That's good. Okay. Blue Scuzzy, 24-hour printer cam stream when? I could. That'd be, I don't know if anybody would watch that, to just watch my printer sit there and run. But I mean, sure. This thing kicks out to 12, would kick out 12 Blue Scuzzies probably in 4 to 6 hours. So it wouldn't be a 24-hour stream. So this is the x-axis. The x-axis is here. This is the x-axis. Yes. Where does this go? What is this little thing for? This is going to be the limit switch, probably. Yep, so that's going to go over here somewhere. If I wasn't talking to all y'all, this would probably go a lot faster. But that's okay, because I love y'all. Yep, that goes right here. So this is the limit switch for the gantry head, for the head direction. So it knows where 0 is positioned. That's all together. Oh, shut up. I need to change something on this. That is one of my many alarms because of my ADHD. I have to have things to remind me to do things. So we're going to pop that up by 1 hour and see where we are at that point. Wiring, we did the wiring. Yep, level the platform. Yep. Blah, 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 blah. So it just tells us how to plug it in and do the things. So now we get to do things. Adderall, you don't want me on Adderall. I'm hyper enough. You want me on more like stimulants? Are you crazy? Be more entertaining for you. Mac Effects, $4.99 super sticker. Woot! Thank you. Thank you, Mac Effects. So let's get this plugged in and calibrated, shall we? Let's do that. Let's do the thing. Shaky cam. Apologies in advance. Cool. There we are. So we need to get all my bits and pieces and tools and things and bags and baggies and yada, 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 yada. All of this stuff just over here and out of the way. We are going to check the voltage on this to make sure it is set to the correct voltage for the United States. There's a voltage switch here. Make sure it is set. Yep, it's set to 230 volts. That would be bad. So let's get that switched to the correct voltage. $115 volts. Good. Works for me. Works for me. And to keep dust out, I'm just going to stick that little piece of plastic right back on top of there. Because why not? Yep, that's good. So we plug in the power. Power! Sweet. Turn this around very carefully. Very carefully. And flip power switch. Yay! Look at that. Steve! Hi, Steve. Cool. So it wants me to do performing a bed leveling. So I do this by going to go to settings. Here, do you want to see it? Do you want to see the screen? Let's get you in on the screen. Shaky cam. I'm trying to keep it as unshaky as possible for y'all. I'm trying to move it slowly so it doesn't shake you out. Whee! Can we get you in a position that doesn't have a huge reflection? That's the trick. Hi, everybody. You can see my head. Zoom. There you go. You can kind of sort of see that. So they want me to go to settings and level. Oops. And it's doing it. That's it. And then they want me to hit auto level start. And it's doing the thing. It's doing it. Look. Looky, look. It's doing it. God, that's quiet. Compared to the other printer, you can't hear these motors working. The other printer was just like noisy as heck. Awesome sauce. So, see you, KHBSD. Thank you for stopping by. Headcam.move. Party with Mac and Lisa. Yes. Mark and Lisa, I mean. A moof file. Moofy. So I hit start. Now it's going to auto leveling. Here we go. This will take a little while. It takes 3 measurements at each point. While that's working, I'm going to get my 3D card or my print card for my other printer. Because I'm going to be using this to print something. God, that's quiet. You can't hear it move. Would you give us the link to where you got this 3D printer? Sure, Amazon.com/printer. I need to click this link, open in new tab. Copy. And here is, there's a link. There's where I got that printer. Now that is an affiliate link. So if you purchase that printer from that link, I will get a tiny little percentage of that from Amazon as a thank you for sending you there. And that's cool. You don't pay an extra dime. It just helps me out. That's it. That's all it does. It just helps me out. It helps me buy filament for the printer or something, you know, whatever. Zoom, zoom. And I'm going to grab something while that's doing that. Filament. Look at the filament. Stand by. I have to do a little prestidigitation with this. I have to clean this filament loop because I greased the inside of it because, again, the other printer doesn't have a spinny spool up there. It's just basically a stick. The bed is leveled. Yay! And it's done. Cool. So, let's load Filament. This goes through here like this, I assume. Goes through the loopy-doo. I don't think you guys can actually see what I'm doing here. Stand by. Go, go, go in there. Wait. Cool. Let's change angles slightly so you can see all of the magics that I'm doing, or as much of the magic as possible. There you go. That's better. Super sticker! Woo! Thank you. I won't use your terrible Amazon affiliate links. Spinny spool, the technical term of spindle. Yes. Hey, you know, it's my world, and I'm living in it, so I'm going to use whatever word I want. So we need to nip the end of this little thing off here. Okay. We're going to feed this through. That did not snap very well. Let's try that again. There we go. I'm going to feed this through here. A little filament detector. Cool beans. Now, we need to do a little preparation. Before you can put filament in here, I'm going to just go back. Cool. Make sure I didn't miss anything with the leveling setting. It wanted me to go to the previous menu and set the compensation. I don't know what that means. Stand by. It wants me to return to previous menu, enter the assisted leveling interface. Whatever that means. So I guess I got to do this again because it showed me something on the screen I was supposed to type in. So anyway, but I forgot to do that. But after you've done this, when you put this filament through, you actually have to heat up the hot end. You got to get it to its preparation temperature, so it'll actually go and squirt through there. Hey, look, it's in Chinese. It's in French. It's in German. It's in, that's Turkish, Italian. That's Spanish. That's Portuguese. Russian. Neat. Anyway. On a meeting me watching. Hi, Javier! Every language but American. You mean English? Herb, you mean English? Listen to how quiet it is, Javier. This printer's silent. Can you hear it making noise? I can't. It doesn't make noise. It's unnoisy. Apparently, there's a number that shows up on the screen here that I need to go back to another menu and type the menu in for the button, for the dots here that it shows me. Riveting. Herb, you speak American in Canada, right? So it's going to do something. It's going to like do things and things it's going to do. Does it show anything on the screen? I don't know. Okay. So this doesn't show anything. Adjust the Z-axis compensation value so that the height from the nozzle to the printing platform is about the thickness of a piece of A4 paper. Okay. Oh, I do it in here. This is... Yes. Cool. So I'm supposed to do this at all locations. Cool. Yes. So I have to like do this thing. So I got to press each of these buttons for each of these 5 locations and give it a compensation value. Okay. Well, we'll do that. I know how to do that. It says A4. I've got letter. We'll use good old-fashioned letter paper. There we go. So we're just leveling all the points. Cool. So we're going to go back to these points. I'm going to turn the little knob so we got a good all-around compensation on all the corners, so it's nice and pre-leveled anyway. This is mostly boring. This sounds like a more akin to torture. Yep, that's about right. It's a little higher in the middle than on the corners. There we go. Cool. So we're going to go back into here. Make sure that it's saved my settings. I know this is very boring, folks. This is just part of the process. I just got to press all the buttons until it does the thing. Yep, it kept the compensation value. Good. Cool. So that is back the way it is. So the next thing we need to do is we have to go into the menu and we have to preheat the head so that we can get the filament installed. So we need to go, I believe, this allows us to jog it. PLA settings, nozzle temp, that's all standard. About advanced settings. Stand by. I'm just figuring out how this particular printer does the preheat. Figure it'd be in here. I don't know. I don't know how this printer does it. You're supposed to preheat the head, the nozzle before you put the filament in. But we're just going to kind of jam it in there. Oh yeah, here it is. Here it is. I found it. Preheat PLA. Go. It's doing it. Sweet. Cool. Neat. Octoprint for the win. Yeah, I could use Octoprint. I'm not a fan of I'm not a fan of Octoprint. I just didn't like it. So the preheat is in there. So in theory, I should be able to just kind of push this down through there and get some filament to come out. Hey, look, they tested it with black filament. Nice. Cool. That's good. Kill beans. So we got our little piece of test filament out of it. So now we're going to put the SD card in it, which on this one requires a stupid freaking adapter. Why? That's dumb. I am not amused. That's fine. I'll deal. This uses a full-size SD card. That's fine. What's your favorite 3D printing software? Good question. If you were talking specifically about my favorite slicing engine, I just like Cura's Ultimaker Cura. if you are speaking of, so wait, I have this. This is just a card. So now I got to move files to this card. This is stupid. Anyway, so yeah, as far as the slicer that converts it into G-code files that the printer can actually use, I like Cura. It's straightforward. It supports literally freaking everything and just works, right? As far as 3D making, like model making software, the only one I've ever really used was OpenSCAD, which is a 3D modeling software that you use a C-like programming language or PHP or, how can I put it? Parentheses and brackets style programming language to define how you do things. So yeah. Now, as far as 3D design for actually designing models other than OpenSCAD, stand by, I'm going to change camera angles because I'm just talking at this point. Face cam. As far as designing models, Tinkercad is great. Honestly, it's free, it's online, you can do the thing, you can get your files out of it, give it to Cura, slice it, and it's done. Javier, as he just stated, my buddy, my other 8-bit partner in crime, Javier, hey Jav, uses Tinkercad a lot as well. So, and Javier is an actual designer of things, so he knows how to design things. So, I would figure he would know what he is talking about. Simplify 3D and Tinkercad, yeah. There's no reason to go through all the rigmarole of buying all these extra things to do things. So why is it not seeing my card? So there's the 3D printer card. It's the first one. There's the second one. Cool. So this will be, hey, look, it's got stuff in it. We're going to do new folder called ZZZ Junk to get this stuff out of here. You just used Tinkercad to send me a file. Sweet. So that stuff's out of the way. So now I can go to my old 3D printer folder and copy it to the new 3D printer card so we can print something on the printer. Yeah. Fusion 360, yes. It's not a proper programming language unless it has curly brackets. Eric, I think you would love OpenSCAD. You could probably do wonders with that application. It is outstanding. So let's do this. We're going to do this. I need to do that. Yay! And file. Clear build plate. Now we need to print something. What are we going to print? I don't know. A thing? I have to be careful what I print because I have my files set up. Well, these files won't work. I have to regenerate the files because they're generated for the other printer. So I need to do the thing. So can I go in here and turn this off? Manual, preheat, cooling, preheat PLA. Axis move in and out. Nozzle temp. Manual. And control. Yeah, there we go. I tapped cooling and it'll cool down now. There we go. I just wanted the printer to cool down so it's not sitting here running fans. Print a Mackie. Here's the thing. I do not print. I could print a Mackie, but I see the Mackie as a very special thing that you get from Miss Kate Fox for being one of her supporters. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to steal her icon for that. Print the test boat or square. Let's see here. I could do that. there's a rabbit, a cat, and an ender, whatever this is. Oh, it's a coin. It's a handle. Oh yeah. So apparently you can print a handle for this this thing. It's on the card that came with it, I guess. Always the benchy boat the first time. Okay. Well, we can do that. If we're going to do that, I'm not going to do it with this filament, though, because this is my super expensive filament. I didn't show that to you, but this filament right here is my filament that directly and exactly matches the color of the platinum stuff for like Max and stuff. Rabbits, benchy boat, cats, flexes in golden Mackie. Yes, print an evil Mackie. Is there a demo file? Yeah, there are demo files. I actually just wanted to print one of my own models, to be honest. So I'm going to switch. Actually, I'm going to switch over to my desk cam, so you can see. I'm going to set this up. So we're going to go find a file to print. We need to go to here and to here and here and medium. We're going to do that. So the next thing we need to do is I need to actually set up my printer. So I'm going to add a printer, add a non-network printer. And I am going to do, can I like type? Wow, that's sucky. Creality 3D. Why are you scrolling weird? Ender. Oh, you don't have my printer? Oh no. I'll have to see if I can download that. Ender-3 S1 Pro. It's probably just Ender-3 Pro. It's probably the same, whatever. So we need to go here and do Ender-3 S1 Pro profile for Cura. Oh gosh. Did I miss it, folks? Perhaps you need a firmware update or a software update? No, this is Cura. Yeah, it's not here. It gives me a sad. And I wouldn't need a software update. This is the newest version of Ultimaker. So I literally just updated it 3 or 4 days ago. And they just don't have the profile. Apparently, There's a zip file. I downloaded the zip file. I put it. Yeah, okay, cool. So we're going to do this. Validation print, all other files. Okay, that's great. What's in the zip file? This is not helpful at all. None of this information is helpful to me. Blah 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 blah. Reading it's easy to close Cura if open. Sure, we'll just like fine, great. We're just gonna close this. Go to app data. I'm gonna go to cool. App data roaming Cura 5.0 or 5.1. Download the PDF file called folders from the file list. It's a zip file. Okay, well, you're done. This is stupid. Joe's grumpy. Open this. Can you open? No, open this. Open. Thank you. Copy. Paste. Change the extension. Zip. There we go. Now I can open it. I don't know why it needed me to do that. Doink. Cool. So that's fine. Awesome. Should be a zip. Yeah. Okay. Great. Code 3 files in each. Keep the files inside these folders and paste them into the corresponding folder in Cura. So then I need to open another folder. Just print already. Well, no. I need the right profile. Creality might have their own version of Cura with the printer already defined. Yes, and their slicer is ass. Sorry, it is. It's crap. I don't like their slicer. I used it for my printer for like 5 minutes, and I switched straight to Cura. So yeah. So I need to go to Windows R, App, Data. There it is. Here's this folder. And so I need to go to Cura 5.1. There are definitions. So we go definitions, AC, V. And then I can go to extruders, AC, V. And then I can go to variants, AC, V. Doink. Doink. Cool. So let's relaunch Cura. See if it works. Just do it! He needs drivers. It's peak 90s computing. Yes. I've learned from past mistakes, you need to tell the printer, or you need to tell Cura what kind of printer you have. If you don't, it won't set the slicing up right. It'll be all wrong. Cool. So now I can do this and click Add Printer. Non-network printer. Cura. Zoom. Wow, zoom right by. Creality 3D. Ender-3 S1. Yay. Cool. And technically I have an S1 Pro, but I don't think that matters that much. It's just the feature set. So we hit Add. Cool. Yeah, fine. Yep. I do need to add some commands to this to auto level it every time, but we will do that in a moment. Unless it's already in there. We'll see in a second. You don't have to deal with all of that, and it's 1.5, nozzle offsets, and yeah, next. Cool. So we now have that. So now I can do this. Thingiverse, preferences, configure Cura. I need to go back to my printers, and I need to look at this and edit it, because preferences, printers, yeah, machine settings, because this has some special stuff. Self-leveling, here it is. I needed this custom G code to re-level every time I print. I know this is boring. Deal with it. I got to do it right. If I don't do it right, I'll break the new printer, and then I won't be able to print things. Settings, printer, printers. Yeah, I need, yep, machine settings. Cool. So that's G28 home. It's going to be in this general vicinity here. So reset extruders the same. G28 is homing. So reset extruder, then home. So we're home and resetting. That's the same as those two lines. So that means we can get rid of this and do G29 self-leveling. There we go. Dook. Cool. Dook. Sweet. Recap your printer to make sure. You're funny. Flash the firmware, UV light the EEPROM, and bodge wire the latest patch. You guys are funny. So now we can do this. there's that. And so these are the backing plates for the light sound, which I need to print a few of anyway. So I might as well go ahead and try that out. I usually print those at standard quality, and we're going to go with the defaults to start with this printer because I don't know what the printer requires. So we're going to hit slice, slicing, blah. Now we're going to save to removable disk, which is save to removable disk. We're going to click that button. It's saved to drive F. Great. So we're done with that. And now we can change screens. I need to click this button and go to here. And so we put this in here. Is that the correct direction? There we go. So we go to print. And we go to that one. And it's going. I presume it's going. It looks like it's going. It's zooming. So that's going to take some time. Cool. People have some questions. So let's actually pay attention to chat for a little bit and see what your questions are. Somebody did a Thingiverse. What is this that you did on Thingiverse? What is this thing? What is this Linkadoodle? What did you, is that Benchy? 5191593. Thingiverse. Oh, it's a profile. Cool. Well, look at that. Thank you. So that's cool. Just pick the closest one and update the particulars that are different. That's assuming that you think I know what those particulars are. I clicked buy printer and shipped it here. I spent about 30 minutes of research, honestly. So is it going? It's doing the thing. It's heating up. Yes. Cool beans. This looks easy compared to Tectan. Just do this all at the command line. Yes. 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 What kind of threaded inserts do you use for those? That's a good question. I have those specifically. I can fetch them. Stand by. Where are those? Those are, I'm looking around from, they're right here. Those are those. So there you go. Those are the inserts I use for these. Almost ready to start printing. There it goes. I need to 3D print some 2C keycaps. Yes. Here it goes. It's leveling. Sweet. Which is what I put in the G code. I put an extra line in the G code to make it re-level every time it does its thing. There we go. Sweet. God, this thing is silent. The only thing you hear is the fan. You need feet for your 2CI. Hey, man, find a file and I'll print them for you, Eric. I'm going to watch this as it prints out. Oh, it's printing perfectly. Oh, it's perfect. Unga bunga, baby. Let's get you zoom-a-doodled in. Let's get super zoom. Super zoom, super zoom. Get in on that hot printer action. Now, I may need to do a few adjustments to this as I go to get the printing to work correctly, of course. But it already seems like it's just printing like a champ. It's just like doing it. Gosh, it's fast. Nice printer. It's quiet. Yeah, I think I may need to, I think my Z offset is a little bit high. I mean, you may need to set a hair closer to the bed. Looks like it's a little up from the bed to me, but it's not delaminating. It's not coming unstuck from the bed, so I'm not too worried about it right now. We'll see what happens. Cool. Sweet. So excite. Is it sentient? Sure, why not? What filament are you using? Good question, Mr. Layton. So this filament very specifically is ColorFab. RAL 7044 on demand. So this filament came after a multi-week search, for lack of a better way to put it, to find filament that I could readily buy that was as close to a color match as the original Apple Platinum color as I could possibly get. After a lot of different back and forth and hem and haw and testing and doing this and that and the other, I came to the conclusion that the European color code RAL 7044 is the closest choosable color from color palettes that you could pick, like Pantone and RAL are the two major color formats that you can get out there in the world. So RAL 7044 is the closest one that you could just buy filament in. So I found a maker that made filament in that color, and I ordered some, and oh my gosh. It's not exactly perfect spot on, but it is so close. It passes like the 3-foot test. Like you gotta be right up on it and like really looking at it to see the color difference. It's schmick. It's really nice. So yes. Now we just need to Retrobrite the case to match the print. Yeah, actually, if you go to my website and look at some of the pictures, you can see my 2GS case is yellowed, and you can see the color next to it where the plate was on it that prevented it from being yellowed, and where that covered spot actually matches the print, but it doesn't match the rest of the case. Yeah. If a printer prints alone in a forest without any observer to watch it, is the shipping more expensive to go get the result? Yes! Yes, that's called a 3D printing service. Ding! Proper lighting can make things look retrobrighted, like this beautiful light up here that it has. Ooh, let's watch it in the dark. Yeah. Because it's got a lighted bed. It's got a light up here that lights it. Oh, isn't that fancy? Ignore this blinking that you might see up here. That's just this LED light that doesn't like voltage differences. That'll reduce that blinkies. Isn't that great? Isn't that schmick? That is just fancy. It's fancy. Joe Lackey. Turn the lights back on. Now, you watch that for about 30 or 40 seconds because Joe needs an extra liquid refreshment. I'll be right back. I'm back! Man, that prints fast. It's faster than the other one. ETA. Don't pay any attention to the man behind the curtain. Yes. Don't. You should never do that. Because if you do, something like this might happen.
Hey, boob.
ETA. Rudy knows the joke because he's Canadian. So is there any noticeable print speed difference between the new printer and your previous one? I can already tell, even though I haven't customized the print speed on this. This is using the default, what you would call standard quality profile in Cura. It's already faster. So yeah, I'm willing to bet if I do just a little bit of research and take some time, which I'm not going to worry about right now. It's kicking prints. It's fast enough for what I need. I'm just going to go with it for now. Because like I said, I have a backlog of 3D prints. I just got to get kicked out and done. But you can play with the settings on test prints, on benchies, you know, the little benchmark boat and other things to get an idea of what your printer is really capable of doing as far as both speed and quality for what you're trying to print. And then you can kick some test prints, get an idea, and play with some profiles. I had a profile for my old printer that would cut the high-speed profile, the default one. It would cut that down by 40%, even more, without any noticeable reduction in quality of the print. And now, granted, the high-speed print quality wasn't that great, but for just like utilitarian little widgets and things, or prototyping test fitments for certain things, you want to print something fast, right? So, you know, having that faster test print thing helps. Joe, print a like button. That'd be great. So for bulk parts, would it be practical to make a negative mold and make resin casts? That's actually a really good thing. People do that, actually. And here's the question. I'll just put that up there. People will actually 3D print. Well, they'll design in 3D to print a positive and use it to make a negative mold for then casting in other resins or concrete or aluminum or anything like this. You can also use these if you use the right kind of PLA. You can also use these as lost, what is it called? Lost casting, where you just pour it in right over top of this because this is flammable. It'll actually like just burn away the plastic and just leave it there. So yeah. Print a like button. Here's your like button. Press it. Smash that like button. Somebody sent me a linky doodle. Who sent me a linky doodle? Yes. Sure. Cool. Lost wax. Yeah. Yep. Yes. By the way, Cat's not Scott Nicky. I'm sorry. I always mispronounce your name. I always think it's hard to say Stroh-Snyder, but your name is a little bit more tricky. But Kat is awesome, by the way. If you don't follow her on Twitch, where she plays RPGs and stuff on old 8 and 16-bit systems, you need to go do that and watch her stuff. Usually, what is it, Kat? Sundays at 1 p.m. or something like that, Eastern. She is awesome. Yes. Quadrafeet. Yes, I should be able to print some of those for you, sir. So yeah, Eric, just let me know how many of those you want. I can print some up for you. Sundays at 1 Eastern. Yes, yes. How much will this part cost? That's a good question. So it depends on the filament you print it on. So it's basically, filament is measured in grams. And you can calculate, and it comes in spools of like 750 grams or 1,000 grams or 2,000 grams or whatever. So you basically just figure out your cost per gram, and then you weigh the part. And that gives you an idea what your final cost is going to be. In my specific case, this filament is actually quite expensive if you live in the United States or if you live outside of Europe, because it is made in the Netherlands. And so it has to ship. And the shipping costs more than the filament itself. So after all the total costs are combined, this costs me like 12 cents per gram, 12 or 13 cents per gram. It's actually quite expensive. In the United States, your everyday average filament is going to cost you approximately 2 to 3 cents per gram. So it's pretty expensive. What about factoring power and time? You can do that as well. So power is, you know, that's one of those fungible things. You have to get an idea of, usually you can kind of look these specs up online for your printer. You can look up what the cost of the printer is in kilowatt hours or whatever metric unit you want to use, and factor that into your actual power cost and do that way. Honestly, the electricity costs, like where I live in Ohio, we generate all our power locally. So our kilowatt hour pricing is like 3 cents. It doesn't matter. I could run this thing probably for a month and it would probably cost me 15 or 20 cents to run it. Like it's not a number I even have to worry about. The printer wear and tear is something you have to do. The way I usually calculate that is I do some research to get an idea of what the average lifespan of the printer should be. Right? That's what I try to do. And then I just divide that. So usually it's like, it'll print for 2,000 hours. Fine, or whatever. So you get that number, you divide the total cost of the printer over the number of hours, and that gives you a per hour operational cost, which you can then divide down to minutes if you want to, and do the thing. And that's how you would, like what Roger said, you factor in the cost for wear and tear. That's how I do it. And it's something like, on the old printer, it was like 10 cents an hour to run it or something like that. So it's not that bad. But yeah, consumables besides filament. Yeah. And that's, you know, when you do that, you know, you're looking at the rollers, the print head, the fans, the print bed is replaceable. All of those different replaceable bits and pieces on the printer itself. And normally, under normal circumstances, those kinds of costs that you pay for, or you factor into the cost of your prints if you're selling things to people, those would be calculated in just fixing the printer when the printer dies or when the printer has a fault. But I didn't have time to fix my printer. Like, I just, with the size of my production schedule and all of that stuff, the size of the number of prints that I do, I'm not like this big print fab shop that can just slap in another printer and then, you know, chalk the repair costs down to operational costs or whatever. I didn't have time to do that. But normally that's what you would do, is you would, your cost per hour to run it over what's the estimated lifetime accounts for those consumables and things. So that by the time you're at that, say it's a 2,000 hour lifespan printer or whatever, you've paid for bits and pieces that you might need to add to it. Or in my case, if you get to like 4,000 hours, you've already paid for the printer twice and you can just buy a new printer and whatever. So it is how it is. Eric said, I made adapters for 120 roll film holders using handmade positives and then used caulk and cornstarch to make molds. Works pretty well with Smoothcast 305. Cool. Yeah, Kat, I'm going to go get your link to Twitch. Because I don't, you guys can't post links, so stand by. Lady Ileros. Kat, why do you have last names and nicknames on websites that are impossible to pronounce? I love you dearly, you know I do. So that's Kat's Twitch. She plays video games. Her most recent set of broadcasts are Super Mario RPG for the Nintendo Entertainment System, which is a freaking fabulous game. So if you can catch her on Sundays, then do it. When I'm not busy, I will put Kat in the background and just listen to her play games. It's just great. It's awesome sauce. My favorite was the time she was using Minecraft to build an Apple II GS, and then as a joke, when she got to putting the PRAM battery in, we're like, you need to make it authentic, and so she goes and pours lava on it to battery bomb the board. That was fun. So this print will be done here pretty soon. It's been printing for 19 minutes. So it's kicking here. It's doing the thing. It's quiet. The print quality is good. I can just tell by looking at it. As good as an FTM printer would be. Yes. I know this is boring. It's like watching paint dry, but I want to see what I want to get I want to see what it's like. I want to see what this comes out like. Worst case scenario, we're waiting another like 7 minutes or so. It's at 76%. It's kicking out pretty quick. Right now, it's printing about approximately the same speed as the previous printer. A little bit faster. Can you install a transwarp card to print faster? Ha 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 ha! Actually, interesting. I'll show you something. I'm going to show you a thing. Are you ready? Let me change cameras to, yeah. Hi. So, I got inspired by Javier to like just speed the crud out of my transwarp, because my transwarp is just not that fast. I can get it up to maybe 13 megahertz, but I can't really get it anywhere past that. So I started putting heat sinks on my transwarp. Yeah, thank you, Javier, for the idea. I just had never thought of it before. I've done heat sinks in other machines that run really hot, but yeah. So that is it right there. That had been set to the side so the glue would solidify. So that's on there, but I still have to add more. I don't know if the Xilinx chip gets hot. I'll have to check that. But if it does, if that gets hot, I want to do that. You can heat sink the actual CPU as well, because once you get this above 14, technically this chip here is getting overclocked. So you might want to cool that down. I'm also been told that the cache RAM should probably be cooled. You should have put them facing top. I don't think it matters, Javier. I really don't think it matters, honestly. It's either going to blow sideways or up and down. It doesn't. I don't think it matters. But whatever. But you could, in theory, put heat sinks on the back side of these on those chips, just as an extra way to suck more heat and get the heat that's being generated over a larger thermal area and get these cheaper. So yeah, or these cooler. Ask Lemon Herb why. Yes, Lemon Herb. Why do you put them the other direction? Herb, I will answer your question about threaded inserts in a moment. Facing top, blah, 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 blah. Somebody else. Joe should reverse engineer the transwarp. I could do that. But all of the hard work is already done by Henry Corbis of Reactive Micro and other people. And as I have said multiple times, I try not to do projects other people have already done, especially like direct rips of other people's things. Heat transfer is better. Heat rises. Well, I did it wrong. Too bad. I've done it now. I'll put a fan on it. And then the fan will blow across it that way, and it won't matter. No, make the Transwarp GS only cost $85. Basically at this point, I mean, these costs in modern actual costs, it costs like $500 to actually make this when you consider all the chips you got to source for it and the labor involved. They sell for like $700. The Apple Squeezer is potentially the better long-term solution than the Transwarp, because it's a modern way of doing it. It can, in theory, clock even faster and higher and higher and higher because you're using the modern technology. I mean, you can, with the Apple Squeezer, it uses 85C816 FPGA core, which means it's not limited by the chip here. It's limited by what the FPGA can do, right? So there are a lot of extra option there. I do have a screensaver on this Mac. Normally, I'm going to answer that question here in a moment. But the apples, I don't like the apple squeezer for one single thing. In my opinion, it's got clearance issues around it. It's kind of chunky. I think it could be slightly the board, the daughter board that connects it to the socket could be slightly redesigned maybe to work better. That's just my theory, but whatever. But yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, somebody had a question. Mac84. You really need a screensaver. So here's the problem with the Pumpkintosh. The Pumpkintosh, something happened to it. It had bad RAM. It started with bad RAM and it was doing weird stuff. I replaced the RAM, but it continued to get weird. It ate the partition on the SD card. It destroyed the partition. Printer's done. That took 25 minutes. So it's already faster. It's faster by a few percent. So printer's done. Yay. We'll let that cool down a little bit and then we'll take that off of there. But anyway, I used to have a screensaver on there, but I had to completely rebuild the image on this from scratch, and I just forgot to put the screensaver back on it. That's why the screen is like really low right now. It's not blasting super high until I get that screensaver put on there. So yeah, it doesn't sit here and run all the time. I only usually run it in the background when I'm on a stream, just because it's pretty. Yeah, the keyboard connector creates additional clearance for the apple squeezer. Throws Joe a floppy with Pyro on it. I like the good old Moira 2.0 Moira line screensaver. It's simple. But then you can't mentally hear the computer on the Excel, so you're going transwarp drive, maximum velocity. Yes. So I just need to finish putting some on that. So the printer is done printing. Let's see how easily this print bed comes, or it releases from the print bed. So let me put the transwarp away real quick. Now these fans are blowing super fast. So I'm just going to go to home, check. It's in cool down mode. Yep. Okay. So we can get rid of this little run out filament here. This filament here is the skirt, and that pops right off super easy. And this, now if I take this off right now, it might actually deform the corners because the bed is still warm. So you have to be careful with that when you're removing parts. You kind of need to let the bed do its thing. So, but I'm not too worried about it for this print. So we just do this. Bed comes off, pops right off like a champ. Sweet. That magnet. No, you need to be properly aligned, magnetic bed thing. There we go. So that's like that. So let's look at this under the microscope so you can see how well it came out. Let's do it because I have microscope view. What's the purpose of the skirt? Good question, Eric. So when you start a print, the extruder is going to have kind of like, it's going to have leftover filament hanging out the end of it or nasty little whatevers. And what you need to do is you need to kind of get that printed out of the way. It helps clear the head or clear the extruder for the actual print that follows. It improves part adhesion. What do you think? How long do you think it would take for that new printer to print a 7mm diameter cylinder? 7mm diameter by how tall? Well, I don't know. A few minutes to a few hours. I mean, this thing can print things up to 270 millimeters tall. So give me like a height. 7 millimeters by 10, probably 10 minutes. Probably wouldn't take that long at all. So let's go to scope cam. So let's zoom in on this thing. So this is the top print surface. Looks pretty good. And because it's a brand new printer, it's going to look super good. Now, because I didn't use the highest quality, you do have some little spots here where where it ended this slice. And so you got little end spots here that don't look quite too great. You got a little bit of inside adhesion separation here. That's usually not too big of a deal. I usually don't worry about little things like that. They don't really affect too much there. So you got some of that, and some a little on the inside edge of that. That happens. It just happens. You don't really worry too much about it. Here's the printed surface, though, and this is why I like these textured print beds, because it makes it look beautiful. Beautiful. It looks like molded plastic, right? You can barely see the lines, the print lines. Now, like from your with your bare eyes, unless you're on it, you can't see the print lines. This, and to keep in mind, this print here, this was the standard print quality. This is not high quality, which will definitely make all of those lines go away. So that is super duper awesome. Hey, look, everybody, look, can you see? Where's my camera? It's right here. Hi. So yeah. $0.3. Skirt set, get the filament going good before print gets going. Yeah. I can't think of a better way to put that. Yeah, it gets the filament nice and the flow good, and the liquid temperature all set up in the print head and everything. It lubricates, it gets flowing. So yeah. Yep. Cool. Sweet. Awesome sauce. Face cam. So that's really, honestly, that's kind of all I had tonight. I wanted to get the new printer up and running. It got up and running lickety-split, super fast. So if you wanted this to be a review of the Ender-3 S1 Pro, the review would be, oh, hush. The review would be, it's a good printer. Can't complain. Jubsy, pardon me, I'm still 10 minutes behind. That's not a problem. You'll see that here in a minute. Questions, would you fill in that gap? Eric, no, not usually. It's usually pretty solid enough for most things that it's not going to be a problem. And remember, too, this is not a stress-bearing part. This goes in the back. It just sticks in the back of an Apple II GS to hold an audio jack in. It's not anything. If you were going to be putting a lot of stress on these parts, one, I wouldn't be using PLA. I would be using ABS probably, because ABS is your typical Lego-like plastic. It's the plastic used in like everything, and it wears a lot better. But in that case, what you would do to get rid of a lot of those tiny little gaps is you would increase the resolution of your print. So you would, this was printed with 0.2 millimeter spacing. A high resolution would be like a 0.12 or 0.1 millimeter spacing. That's really stretching the abilities of a 0.4 millimeter head or 0.4 millimeter nozzle. But yeah, if it's not stress bearing, when you look at it with your bare eye, you can't literally see that spacing. Keep in mind, that was like way zoomed in on the microscope. I'm just like here like this. I can't see it. It looks, I can't even notice it. So yeah, I wouldn't do that. Can you print the tiny gears for 3.5-inch Apple floppy drives? Yes, you can, but not with a printer like this. A printer like this does not have the resolution required, nor under any circumstances do 3D printed objects, because of the layered style of the printing, it doesn't have good enough adhesion between the layers for it to do well. You need a different type of printer. With a 0.4 nozzle FDM machine, Catherine, mine's a 0.4. Mine won't do it. This printer does not have the resolution, even at the highest settings I could set it, to print those gears well. You need to use like a resin printer or something like that. I would just rather send you money than Shapeways. Well, it's a very good question. If you want to send somebody money for those gears, go to MacEffect's website. Mark Josatis makes those and sell those. So if you want somebody in the community to do that, go to MacEffect's and buy those. Yes. Even with 0.2, it won't work. Yeah, you need a very, very special printer or a resin printer to print those. The resolution is super tiny on those. So yeah. Yeah, Kat, you think you have a drive that needs one? All of your drives need one. If your drives have not had the gear replaced, they need to have the gear replaced. Just like if you had an old Mac that hasn't been recapped, yeah, you need to recap it. That's just how it is. So yeah. Is there conductive resin? Good question. I don't know. Google.com. I don't know. I haven't looked into that. That would be interesting though. Glad to see you back in the video set. Enjoy your video present show. Thank you. 1-Bit Fever Dreams. Thank you. Oh, we have stickers. NG Layton, $5 super sticker. Woo! Thank you. And Tim Cross, $5 super sticker. Woo! Thank you. It doesn't show me what the sticker is. It just tells me you gave me stickers. So thank you very much. Cool. Yeah, just reading, catching up. Somebody had... Yay! Justin, remember the V20 you smashed? You finally have what you need to send it out for destruction and analysis. Yeah. Cool. That is good. Awesome. Here we go. We need to get Blondie Hacks to machine them out of brass. If we could get Quinn, she's a long-time Apple person, if you don't know. If we could get Quinn to machine those, that'd be great. I think she would find that probably both soothing and endlessly frustrating at the same time, because those are tiny, those gears. They're like this. They are not big gears. So, yeah. Just reading back. Done most of the Mac Effects you fan because quality, I have all I need. Cool. I thought they were supposed to be sacrificial if they need to break. Yeah. That's a good point, Eric. And he's probably right. Those gears are probably less strong than the rest of the gears, so that they can be a sacrificial part in case of some overstress condition. But yeah. Jeremy sent me parts. Thank you. Well, they are good at breaking. Yeah. I had one that was working perfectly fine. A month later, I literally took it out and tested it and kind of just bent it a little bit, and it was strong. Put it back in. A month later, it had turned to dust. I don't know, looking at them, breathing on them, like they're Schrodinger's gears, you acknowledge their existence and it collapses the wave function. I don't know. It's like the game. Like you think of it and you lose it. Ha! You all lost it. So yeah. Yep. Cool. Well, that's cool. That is good to know that this printer is up and running, which means I can get my production back at full tilt, which is great because I have a bunch of orders sitting in the pipeline that need parts that I need to kick out from this printer. So we're going to do that. Adam McGee, hello, is it fixed yet? Yep, I'm actually just ending the stream. We're just finishing up. But yeah, the printer works great. If you want to see that, you can go back and watch it, or watch it at 2 times speed and get caught up in half the time. So yeah. Stroh-Snyder's gears. There you go. You spelled it wrong, but I heard you. I knew what you meant. Don't make me stream. Everybody, make Steve stream. Stream. But yeah. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night tonight. It has been super wonderful hanging out with all of you this evening and getting a chance to just do something fun and also do it with you all. So that was cool. Again, if you like the stream tonight, remember to hit the like button. Remember to hit the subscribe button if you are a new watcher. That way you know when I'm going to be streaming in the future. Go back and watch some of my older videos. I got a lot of really cool content back in the past. And remember to hit the little bell thing so you get notifications and you know when I'm doing that stuff, and that is super awesome. If you want to support my channel and my museum, you can do a couple things. You can go to patreon.com/Joe's Computer Museum. There's actually, I can click a button to show it to you. If you stand by, I just have to remember which button I need to press. There you go. You can go to Joe's Computer Museum on Patreon down there. Drop $1 in the cup. You do that and you get access to behind the scenes things. I post stuff up on there, do pictures, short little videos, some behind the scenes posts and stuff, and also give you an idea what's going on in my world so you know what's going on in my world. In addition, that gives you immediate access to the patrons only Discord, where you can hang out with a whole bunch of other cool people, where we talk about just random, absolutely random stuff, from computers to cars to life to the universe to stuff to little fish, to like cell phones to whatever. Everything that we talk about in there. If you have questions and tech comments and like, Joe, how do I do a thing? Joe, can you help me with this thing? Hey, I didn't know how to whatever. You can throw those in there. And it's not only me that answers, it's the rest of that community. So that is cool. So $1 a month gives you that. And finally, if you wanted to pick up a little trinket like the kit that this little 3D printed thing goes into, the light sound board, or a new keyboard encoder for your Apple II, or a blue SCSI unit. Hush! Hush! Quiet! I'm doing a thing. Shh! You can go to jcm-1.com and pick that up. Again, thank you all for stopping by. Thank you for hanging out and watching me put together my printer. And that's all. So we'll see y'all later. Have a good evening, everybody. Bye!